I've arrived late. I hate doing that because, my guest got here minutes before me. Why were you late, Rob? We had a guy coming to fix the washing machine, and the cats were going to the cattery, and my son was going on a play date. And it just the guy came an hour earlier than they said they were going to. And he was a lovely man when he arrived, which didn't help. You could just see a kind face. And so it was hard then. It's not his fault.
No.
This is the company. They said 10:45, and he's turning up at 9:45.
Knocking on the door and wanted to begin.
Yeah.
Oh, that's no.
Because with the washing machine, when you put the cartridges in, you've got these cartridges that keep all the detergent in them.
Right.
Keep saying that the detergent isn't there when it is.
Right.
And they've come twice before to fix it, and each time it's worked okay while they're there.
Has it started to take over the house like Megan?
Yeah, this is AI, isn't it?
AI.
Yeah.
It's gone wrong. AI gone wrong.
Then I hear a voice, I don't think you want to leave the house now, Robert. And I
You
know
need a
because it's calling
wash.
me Robert rather than Rob.
Yes,
I know
of course.
this
Immediately it's gone. How?
This isn't good. I'm talking to Reece Shearsmith about, because he's my guest. Don't forget, you can hear the full-length, longer version wherever you get your podcasts. So, look, I've apologized privately. I want to apologize publicly for being late.
Very kind. He was very craven, weren't you?
And on a day after you have just done 2 theatrical performances the day before.
That's right.
But it's hard, isn't it? The 2-show day?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've been doing it. We started The Unfriend. This is the play I'm doing with, directed by Mark Gatiss, of course, and written by Stephen Moffat. And we did it in Chichester last year, and we remounted it for the West End. The thing that you hope would happen, it happened. We got the transfer, which is great. And it's a very funny play. But
it's on my list to come and see. My excuse is I've got kids of school age, so going out is hard.
Washing machines that are taking over your house.
Oh, Reece, if you only knew. But I mean, Gatiss and Moffat.
Yeah.
You're not chancing yourself on untried talent, are you?
No, it was very nice to just have. I mean, Mark's quite sort of elusive when he asks you to do things, and I got this.
He's never asked me to do anything.
Yeah, well, he will.
Yeah, he hasn't yet.
But yeah, I just got the. He said, "Can I? What are you doing?" September, whenever it was when we first wanted to do it. I said, I think I'm free. Can I send you something? And then the next thing is this play comes. It's Stephen Moffat's first play.
Cool.
Will you? And what do you think? And I read it. I said, yes, great. Did you like the part of Peter? Yes. Would you like to play Peter? So that was just the 3 steps of the text that gave me this amazing part. And I'm delighted to be doing it. It's a really funny. I get to do a lot of very funny escalation of keeping a lid on a situation getting worse and worse,
I can imagine you doing that.
It's sort of very stressful, but it's very funny. It's faulty, like Basil Fawlty's, like sort of, and then outbursts at the end. And I've always really revelled in disproportionate anger.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Disproportionate anger.
Yeah, disproportionate rage is what I sort of use a lot, and this is a perfect example of sort of that. And it's all about embarrassment. It's about the Britishness of wanting to stay polite when you're seething, actually.
But you've encapsulated it, right? You said disproportionate rage.
Yes.
I would say Will Ferrell, unearned confidence.
Yes, that's great.
It would be quite fun. Now is not the time or the place.
Yeah.
To go through some big names and say, what's their thing?
Yes.
What's their shtick?
Yeah.
Right. So disproportionate rage
is me.
That's.
Yeah, I think so.
That's interesting. You know that I've done my impersonation of you.
Yes,
to you.
I think you have.
Ready? Here it comes. Ready? Ready? Here it comes. Okay. Not about you.
That's right.
I don't know if that's a line you've ever said.
I don't know. It's
but it sounds like something you should say.
Yes. It's not about you. So it's about you, isn't it? It's not about you.
Not about you.
Right. It's something like, but I feel I've said it, but I'm not sure.
Crossed
I have.
your arms as well. That's interesting.
Yes, I feel I've said it, but I'm not quite sure when or where. Maybe in real life.
I did it one day. And I just went, oh, God,
That is.
that's perfect. That's that.
It's because it's not the obvious way of doing me, which is what's very particular about it. I
Thank
think
you.
that's very good.
What
Yeah.
would the obvious way of doing
I think
be?
more a broader, northern, deeper
Oh,
voice, possibly.
because your voice now is
Well,
very
yes, but
classic
that
FM.
it is very classic FM. But that's because I've done 2 shows yesterday.
That's what we all dream of,
Shouting.
isn't it?
Yeah,
From our
yes.
home,
Yeah,
sitting at home, just recording the links, not
Just
even having to
doing-
listen to the music.
just being Xander. Yeah, that's
A
the dream.
very good morning to you. How splendid to enjoy the pleasure of your company this morning. Stravinsky, conducted by Raphael Gestunk and the Viennese Concert Orchestra. He makes me smile.
Yeah.
When he started doing that, I was slightly sniffy about it. Can I be
Right.
that honest?
Yes, you can say.
But he's won me over.
Well, the funny thing with Xander, and when he does Pointless as well, is because he's so funny as a funny performer. When he was doing Classic FM and Pointless, it looks like he's playing the part of,
Yes.
slightly ironically. And you've got to get past and just decide in your mind, switch the switch that makes you go, oh no, he means it.
Yeah.
And then it's all right. But if you
Yeah.
decide, if you've got that eye that it's sketch,
That's
you
right.
can never quite believe him.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But no,
you've
he's
got-
really won me over. And now I feel about him as I used to about Terry Wogan. I used to like the sound of Terry's voice in
Yeah.
the background. It didn't matter what he was saying. It was all this there and this, really. And I
Yes.
feel that with Xander now.
Yes, yeah.
A little bit of music and then his voice comes in. On this podcast, some names come up of greats within the industry. People often have stories about Anthony Hopkins. He's come up a lot. I try and shoehorn Bruce Springsteen in as much as I can. But with you, someone that I spoke to Ross Noble a lot about was Mel Brooks.
Right, yes.
And one of the times that we've spent time in each other's company was when I came to Cardiff. Do you remember?
Yes.
And came back to say hi after I'd seen you
In
being
the-
brilliant
Doing Leo Bloom.
in The Producers.
Yeah.
Did you have contact with Mel Brooks over that? Was there any involvement?
He came, I think I saw him he came to Drury Lane when we were
Right.
there, and he sat in the same seat that he always sits in.
Oh.
I think it's the comment around that time when he came was that the theatre was too hot. People can't laugh when they're warm.
I agree with that.
And it's true, yeah. You can't, hot is not funny. You need
David
it cold.
Letterman was famously had his studio very, very cold.
Yeah.
For that reason. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
If you're just sat wanting to take your jumper off, it's the last thing you're thinking of.
Well, let's explore this. The comfort of the seat. When I'm on tour and we do the sound check and I look, if I see these beautiful, luxurious seats in the audience,
Yeah.
I'm not happy
Yes. Oh, no.
because they're a night out in themselves.
Of course, yes, absolutely. Let's just settle down for the evening, possibly even sleep.
Yes.
That's what I used to find with producers in the West End. There was rows of people that finally have got sat, having a long day of trooping round on there, and now they're asleep. Rows and rows of people,
We went to see
like corpses. in
went
their
to see
seats.
Reece Shearsmith in that Producers. I tell you what, it was smashing. I got a proper hour and a half.
Yeah, really good, hard, deep sleep.
Because I wear with my Apple Watch, I could tell it was the deep sleep and a bit of core sleep and a bit of REM as well.
Exactly.
It was smashing.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that show?
I did. I sort of went through the madness. I mean, I've done 2 musicals in my time, The Producers, and Betty Blue Eyes, where with Sarah Lancashire playing
Yeah.
Gilbert Chilvers. It was the musical of A Private Function, the Alan Bennett film. And they're exhausting. I mean, they are exhausting. I mean, the great enjoyable thing about a musical is you're swept along literally by the music. And I never sort of felt more at home, and it felt so cozy to be in an ensemble,
Yeah.
huge dance numbers, and you're part of this machine on stage. Wonderful feeling. And but I did go slightly mad with the fact that I did it for a year.
A year.
It's a long time
That
to do
is.
anything, I think.
Yes.
So and I had to do it for a year, and I sort of went. I did 3 months. It was fine. I thought I've still got a long time left, and I did sort of go mad with it. And the curious thing about The Producers was, having done it for so long, the magic of theatre that you normally have when you do any play. I'll have it tonight. When before I go on, there's the slight excitement of there's an audience buzzing out there. Couldn't keep it up for a play for a year because You just couldn't. It was like a job. It became clocking on.
Yeah.
And the musicals are very much like a huge factory, a machine. You arrive at people on stage in the costume. It's not them, it's somebody else because that person's on holiday for 2 weeks. And you go, "Oh, right, okay. It's gonna be you, is it?" And it's a different face doing that plot. And everyone has their own track and it just works. And it's nuts and bolts to create this thing that's always on every night. And it just became a thing where there was 3,000 people at Drury Lane, and I would be chatting away to someone in the wings. I said, "I'll tell you in a minute." And I'd go on and just do this thing, go off, and it didn't have any. I never did it not 100%. I would
Yeah.
always be in it and properly give it my all. But that slight frisson of excitement about being in this thing went because I couldn't physically keep it up for a year. This sort of every night being a special night.
While you were in it for a year, who were the people that played Roger Debris?
Roger Debris. Well,
You had one person.
one person came along, wanted to do the part of in the producers. I think he was a big Mel Brooks fan. Peter Kay
Peter Kay
came and
Yes,
did
I've
Roger
heard of
Debris.
him.
You've heard of him?
Yes, I've heard of this guy.
He was good, and yeah, he sort of he got the houses in.
How, to what extent?
That was sort of extraordinary to do.
To
with
what
Peter.
extent did he respect the sacred nature of the script? I came to see it at the Millennium Centre.
That's right. Yeah, we
in
did it for 2
Cardiff,
weeks
and
or
I would
3
be
or 4
seeing
weeks.
my friend Reece and my friend Peter in this production. I don't remember in the script a moment where Roger Debris sits on the apron, the lip of the stage, and encourages the audience to join him in a version of the Human League's #1 hit single, Don't You Want Me Baby?
Did that happen on the night you saw it?
Yes,
Yeah.
that did happen.
Well, that's funny because that happened every night. And the
I
other thing
bet
that happened.
Peter made it appear as though it had just come to him.
Well, one
You
thing
what?
that would
You
happen.
what?
You what? One thing that would happen. I mean, Peter was sort of, I mean, completely encased in the fact that he's Peter and can do anything. And audiences, of course, he's just, he is a law unto himself. And he was sort of able, in a miraculous way, really, to tread the line of being in it, stepping outside of it, commenting on the actors within it during it. He'd stop me at some points when I was in mid-flow Leo Bloom and say, "You might know Reece from, you did a Miss Marple, didn't
Get
you?"
lost.
He did.
Get lost. And did you like that because it was a change, or did you not like that?
Oh, well, I was sort of, I didn't know how to navigate it.
You might know Reece from Miss Marple.
He did a Marple, didn't you? And I'm just standing. I mean, it's sort of emasculating because what do you respond?
There's nobody like Peter.
No,
There's nobody. He's such a one-off.
absolutely, yeah. And he's got this touch that just is sort of, when I think about what I do, it's so niche, really, and particular, and the easy way out, really, because it's cynical, I think, and not always, but there's a lot of darkness to it, and I think heart in comedy is one of the hardest. It's so pure and difficult to
You
do.
sound
And
like Coogan now. Stop being ironic. I want to stuff with heart, soul. You did it in Marion and Jeff. Yeah, I know. That's what I want to do now, really. I want stuff people feel.
is that what he says?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it maybe comes to us all. People have not done it. You admire it. I do. I mean, yes. I was thinking now before coming here to talk to you today about how much dark stuff you have done as well. You know, I thought you might be talking to me about having done this skein of darkness, but you, like Marion Jeff, was one of the most sort of heartbreaking, dark things I've ever seen.
Yeah, and Human Remains.
And Human
very
Remains,
dark.
of course. Yeah, I mean,
And
it's sort of
I've not
peerless.
kind of, yeah, I know. And then
Is it something they just were springboarded and you did that? Or was it like, this is my thing and here I am with
Yeah, I
it?
thought it was my thing. I love all that, but it's just not. It's sort of not gone. It's just not gone that way.
Yeah.
You know, we because I also love the other stuff.
Yeah.
As well.
Yes, yeah.
Just as much. Yeah, Julia and I wrote more stuff, wrote more Human Remains. We've just never made it. You know,
Yes, yeah.
we've written together
Oh, that's the terrible
loads of stuff,
crime
but
that's
we've
not.
never really sort of done it.
Yeah.
But Peter, so he
So yeah, he would do that, and also every night he would sing "Happy Birthday." It stopped the claps at the end of the show to say it's Reese's birthday today. Can we give him an happy birthday? And then he'd get the whole audience. And the first time he did it, funny, yes, every night. And I think Peter, it's a long show anyway.
yeah.
Can we not
Yeah.
do the bit where you
Yeah.
do that? He said, "Oh, they love it." So I don't know what he thought he was doing. Whether he thought it was a sort of like the audience felt special that night because they got the happy birthday because it was Reese's birthday.
That's right.
Never
Yeah,
was.
Yeah. So with that in mind, when I saw the production, starting to sound like Terry, I came down.
We must talk about Ronnie as well because I,
we
of course,
shall.
did.
What's your link to Ron?
Well, it was via John Landis, who
Wow.
cast me in Birkenhair, alongside Ronnie Corbett, who was the head of the militia. And I got to spend 3 months filming with Ron. And
3 months
yeah,
with
yeah,
Ron?
yeah, just on and off
Wow.
over
Yeah.
over the time of the duration of the filming. And went out with him and Anne for lunch, went round to the house, and it was so lovely. And I couldn't believe, and you know this, but when you're with him, it was like people couldn't believe they were seeing him. He
That's
was like
right.
a man that was
That's
in the, like they'd fallen into the telly.
Yes.
How
Their
could he
faces
exist?
would light up, wouldn't
Yeah,
they?
how could he exist in the world? There
That's
he
right.
was, yeah.
That's
And
right.
it was always such a joy just to be near him when that would happen, and it would always happen whenever
And
he
wonderful
went.
stories.
Yes, yeah. I mean, he was, he would just sit and talk about. He came to early league shows as
I
well. He
know,
took such an
yeah.
interest.
Up in Edinburgh.
Yeah, in Edinburgh, he came to our first when we won the Perrier,
Mm.
Edinburgh '97.
Steve's covered all this, by the way.
As you said, yeah. Well, there he was in the audience, and it was just
Yeah,
a sort
Steve's
of.
covered this. Steve's I interviewed Steve yesterday.
Oh right, he
Steve
did.
Pemberton.
Was
He's covered this.
Was he funny?
Oh, he was very good about
Yeah.
the Edinburgh years.
Right. Okay. Well,
So
I
there's
won't do.
very little you could tell
I
me
won't do any of that. Then.
about
But yes,
Edinburgh.
what was great was
He said you were difficult to live with, but other than that,
we did live with each other. We
I
had
know.
to share flats.
And you made a board game, didn't you,
We
based
did.
on Cluedo?
Did he tell you about that? Yes.
And I said to him, that just says to me, what an incredible powerhouse of creativity the four of you are, that in your bloody downtime, you were inventing board games.
We did a board game, and it was sort of to mirror the fact that I think that the rooms of the Cluedo board game were the venues.
Yes.
He told you this, yeah, and I think it was it was some sort of
Who was going to win the Perrier?
who was going to win the Perrier, yeah. Well, anyway, I don't know whether we did win it, but I don't know whether we won the game. But yeah, it was a fun time, probably the best time actually. Edinburgh '96 when we first went, and then '97 was the time when it felt most exciting because it was like this is not just our friends anymore laughing at us.
He said Griff Rhys Jones
Came in, yes.
Came.
Can we get in contact with you?
Yes.
Yes, it's possible to. How do we get in contact with you?
I would. Or sort that in, all that sort of. All that sort of. Of course, my dad, of course, he died. Oh, what was that? Or of course, the big C. Oh, what's that? The cancer. Now he drowned. That's a Fraser Steele joke, I think.
That's a
I
very
think
good
Fraser
joke.
wrote that. I brought up with Steve, and I don't want to create an atmosphere, but almost every time I run into you, I tell you how much I like Inside Number 9.
Yes.
And we talk about the great array of wonderful actors that have appeared in it.
Yeah.
And I will say to you, I'd love to do that. And how many series now have you done?
It's 8.
8 series. There's a lot of episodes.
Yes, a lot of episodes.
parts. And yet, only minutes ago, you were praising my early, edgier work. And yet, the phone, as far as I'm aware, unless my agent feels it would be a bad move, you haven't troubled me with. I haven't had the Mark Gatiss moment of, here's a thing. What do you think of this part? Would you like to do it?
Yes.
It's a simple question. Why?
Well,
you're
look.
crossing your arms. That's interesting.
Look, what you must realise.
Shall I tell you Steve's excuse?
Yes.
Things, Rob. I can't do Steve. I can't do Steve. All the parts you'd be good for are kind of our parts, really.
Yeah. And that is probably the lie I would go with as well.
You're going to go with that one, Ian? Okay. He said, which episode would you like to be in? I think he was trying to trip me up there. I think he was saying, have you really watched the show?
Because there are people, that say, oh, I'll do anything. I'll make the sandwiches. And then we have approached them. They've gone, not for me. I thought there'd be more.
Is that right?
Yes, it is.
It is a dangerous thing to say,
Of course
isn't it? It is a dangerous thing to say.
Yeah, we'll call your bluff then. Really?
Yeah.
You really? I mean, because we won't give you... Because Steve, it's true what Steve says. There are often 2 male parts, and we'll do them.
Yeah.
Increasingly, though, to our credit, I think that the stories have become more important, and we do try to cast... And we do take a back seat and have done.
Yeah.
And then we would have you. I think the problem with you is, Rob, you would just... There's the star power. I'm not sure now that you can come on and be assimilated into a world and people are not going to go, well, that's Rob Brydon.
Should I buy this, viewers? Should I? Because there's a part of me who's quite flattered by
Yes,
that.
I think you should be. I think you're sort of beyond...
In a way, you're saying I'm too big.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. And I think our little things and the breaking of the fourth wall, because you could be you in it.
Yes. Yes, in a way, I'm too good.
I think that's what we've realised.
What
so
bollocks,
many series.
What utter bollocks. And I said the one that came to mind was the Bill. And I said I could have done Watkins's part or Glenister's, whose birthday it is today.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
60 today.
Wow. Yes, and that's actually the one of the parts in the Bill, I'm not going to say which one, was hard to cast. And people wouldn't do it. We had a few no's. From people that you'd be surprised about.
Not making me feel any better.
I won't say the names here, but I will tell you later.
You're surprised they would say no.
Yes.
That's quite funny, isn't it? When
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Really?
You'd think, we got a no from...
Yeah.
Really?
That's what happened.
I wouldn't have thought that door is being battered down every day.
That's exactly what happened.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah. I mean, yes, we've had great people in. And
I know you have.
It's lovely, to have people now want to do
A hell of a lot of my friends have been in it. Steve Spears did it.
Yes,
the one in the changing
football
rooms
one.
for the football.
That was good. That was baffling to me. Yeah, I know.
All right, never mind. We'll let it go. Reece, what a pleasure.
It's been lovely. Thank you, Rob. And I'm glad that we talked about the theatre and acting and the technicalities of comedy as well, because that's endlessly fascinating and not easy to do, and people think it is, and it isn't.
Oh, I could talk about that till the cows
come
home.
Of course.
I hope you've liked that I haven't asked you perhaps all the usual questions
I
get asked.
Yes, because I would only say the same answers.
I wasted those on Pemberton.
Good.
And to a degree, Gatiss.
Right. Okay. Good. Well, this feels like I've spoke in areas that I don't normally talk about, which is
always enjoyable, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
Someone you sometimes you get those, and you sort of go, oh, that was lovely.
Yeah. It genuinely was, yeah.
And I've said we're ending it, and look, we've given listeners an extra 30 to 40 seconds, almost effortlessly, but it's now stopped.